Reddit asks, in America, names like John and Mary are known as common names. What are the John and Mary names of other countries? In Egypt about 90% of the male population is called either Mohammed, Ahmed, or Mahmoud. A lot more diversity when it comes to female names though. That's funny because I had professor who told me about how he had a friend in Egypt who was planning on naming his son Mohammed and joked that if you yelled Mohammed in the streets, half the people there would look to see if they recognized you. I have an Egyptian friend named Mohammed. Makes so much sense now. Funnily enough, that was my professor's friend's name, Mohammed Ibn, grandfather's name, so his son would be Mohammed Ibn. Mohammed had his friend done this. In Tunisia, I'd say it's Ahmed and Maryam. I know at least 10 of each. Maryam is Arabic for Mary and Mary is a common name, so I guess some things are the same. Mario Rossi is the standard name in Italy. Edit. Alessandro, Andrea, Marco, Filippo, and Mattia are wildly popular too for boys. Francesco for guys, Francesca for girls. Paolo for guys, Paola for girls. In Iceland, JN and Ghana. Does Ghana happen to have a SoundCloud rap account? Drip too hard. Don't stand too close. You gon' fudge around and drown. Off this wave. Doing all these shows. I've been on the road. In Brazil, Portuguese, is Ju and Maria. These are the names of the two Brazilian kids I work with. I didn't realize Ju was so common. Ju is probably the most used male name around Brazil, but biblical names, Gabriel, Miguel, Daniel, Ariel, Samuel, Nathaniel, etc., are also very popular. All the Brazilians I know is like 3 Gabriela, 4 Rafaela, and Nathaniel. Oh, and a Fabiana. Netherlands, Jan, Don, Emma would be some. Also son, Thijs, Tim, and Julia. Never knew Thijs was common. I know a guy who has that name, haha. Thijs. For some reason, Grace is a wildly popular name for Korean American girls. We had so many Grace Kims that we had to distinguish by middle initial, and sometimes they even had the same middle initial. There were a lot of Korean Americans where I grew up, and I only remember one Grace, but we had an entire line in the yearbook of Andrew Lees. Then there were a few Korean Andrews with other surnames. I always wondered why that name was so common. If they're Catholic, Saint Andrew Kim Taegan was the first Korean priest and the patron saint of Korea. Amongst American-born Vietnamese, Kevin. Especially if their last name is also Nguyen. Why is like every Vietnamese person's last name Nguyen? Edit. Rip my inbox. My Vietnamese friend told me Nguyen used to be some famous king or something like that. Also, it's not every Vietnamese person, only like every other. There were a ton of kings with the last name Nguyen. The Nguyen dynasty was the last imperial family, which I think is one of the reasons there are so many, 1/3 of the country. I used to pronounce that name Nagayan for so long. Then I found out it's Win. But then I found out that it's not really Win. Win just sounds close to what it really is. Can someone tell me how to really pronounce it? Any Vietnamese Redditors? In Serbia, John is Nikola and Mary is Marija. Stefan and Milika were all the rage in the 90s. Stefan is super popular indeed. In Denmark we use a lot of variants of Johannes, Jens, Jan, Johan, Hans, John, and the feminine form Johanna. Surnames like Hansen Jensen are super common. On the top 20 AF most used boys' names, Jens, Jan, and Hans are 2, 8 and 15. Maria, Marie, Ree are common variants of Mary, but Maria is only number 9. And Kirsten Met are the most common girls' names. Peter, Jens Michael are the most common boys' names. X200B. 2 out of 3 men in Catalonia seem to be called Jordi. The rest are mostly called Xavi. Last name Pujol for extra points. Xavi, Jordi, and Pujol, mate FC Barcelona can only get so hard. Never met so many Charlottes until I went to the UK. Lottie if you're posh. As a Charlotte, I find Lottie insulting. It's a real Marmite thing at the annual Charlotte meeting. Edit. Obligatory shiz this blew up comment and thank you for the gold kind stranger. Now to figure out what this means. I'm a Charlotte who went by Lottie as a kid and I got bullied by a Lauren to stop using it because Lottie is short for Lauren not Charlotte. I'm a Charlotte, too, and most Laurens I meet are dumb bitches. South African here. I've met so many Sifos and Ayandas here. Both names can be for both genders. Edit, a few more South Africans have chimed in. I'm making a list now. Thabo, Thando, Thato, Ruan, Bianca, Jean, Jeandra, Carla, Michaela, Jacques, Thandi, Mfo, Lisadai, Peter, Gerd, Kobus, Jaco, Daniel, Nicole, Craig, Yuan, Francois, Thamba, Kyle. Edit 2, my fuck, Mare lies. What's this popularity? Another South African here. I knew so many Sifos and Ayandas, can confirm. Among white Afrikaans speakers in South Africa you get a lot of Yuan and Marie, in keeping with the John and Mary theme. My Portuguese godmother is one of 14 children, mostly girls. Every single girl except her is named Maria. That means about 9 of those 14 children have the same first name. They all have to go by middle names, some of which repeat also. Their parents weren't very creative. This sounds like an honest-to-God nightmare. That's what I felt like when I was reading 100 Years of Solitude and trying to keep all the characters straight. I heard J.K. Rowling has a hard time keeping characters straight, too. Ayo. I'm in Indonesia and for guys it is probably Raffi or Ahmed, for girls Alia or Anissa. Also for guys Muhammad is obviously a popular one but not as much as you would think. Lots of girls called Angel and Callista as well. How does one pronounce Alia? Like Alia? Oh, I was thinking like Alia. In Denmark it's N and Peter. For newborns it's William and Ida. Jens. For Fandanik Glem Jens. England here. Fucking Daniel and Ellie. Edit, as shown below, English parents are extremely unoriginal, somehow the large majority of names fit. But every guy under 20 is called Ollie. Fuck Ollie. Goddamn snow murderer. What is dead may never die. The North remembers. UK Chloe, Charlotte, Ben, and Harry. I'm a Chloe. Hi, I'm a Ben from the UK. Though my age group, born in 87, and location, Southeast, seemed to be formed mostly of Sarah, Hannah, James, and Chris. Just wanted to confirm. I'm American, John, and Mary are my parents' names. Just to confirm, I am also American and my name is Mary and I have a brother named John. I know an American family who liked the name Mary so much, they named 2 of their daughters with the name. George Foreman's sons are all named George. And his daughters, too. And his grill. And my axe. I've seen and my axe so often in Reddit comments now I usually just skim on by but this time you made me spit out my drink. In France, Jean and Marie. My buddy is Jean Marie. Le Pen? No, thank you. I have a few. Appreciate the offer though. I am now desperately asking myself which one of us is being wooshed, and I'm afraid it's me, sad face. I could let you suffer but I will admit I didn't understand your post so I posted a random smart ass post of my own.